Oh, I did it. Cool. All right, guys. So start off just a little intro on myself. My name is Reggie Grain. I'm co-owner of Green Home Loans. I got my trusty partner, Kaylee Taylor here. She's a business development manager in our company. And one of the things that you will probably get to know about me, and Kaylee definitely knows, is I'm good at about three things in my life, and everything else I need a lot of help on. So Kaylee's here to help me with any questions you have in the chat, or you want to splurt out, just let us know. And then if I mess up on the slides, she's going to come in and assist me to move this thing along. So a couple things on this class. So the real reason that I put together this class is I wanted to really give you some surface level stuff of how to scale your mortgage business. And then right near the end, I'm going to really hard sell you on a product or service that I want you to purchase. So I'm monetizing my time today. So obviously that's just a joke. I'm not going to sell you anything on this class, so you don't have to worry about a huge sales pitch at the end of this class. At the end of the day, I just want to give you some real things that I've actually used to scale my business. Now, some of this stuff is mainly kind of surface level ideas. So if you want to go deeper on it, just give us a question or put it in the chat and we can go as deep as you want to go. But one of the things I do want to go over is kind of who I am and where I've been. So as a solo originator, my best year I did 73 million. I also built a purchase-based mortgage team. My best year I did 230 million. And right now, my main focus is working on trying to build the best possible platform for loan officers with Green Home Loans. And you might think, why is this person telling us his numbers? Is he an egotistical dude, or what's the reason for this? And I actually think that's a really good question to ask and a really important question to ask. And the reason I think that is because there's a lot of people in this world that are teaching you strategies and things to do for your business that have never been in the arena, that have never done what you want to do, or been where you want to go. So has anybody in here gotten professional coaching or business coaching at all? Show of hands. I know most people don't have their video on. Anybody?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my one recommendation is I've been coached by three people in my life or in my business career. And every person I've been coached by, I've personally verified that they were at a level that was much higher than where I was at and that I wanted to go. So if any of those things I talked about aren't where you want to go, it's not going to offend me if this is not the right class for you. Just make sure if you're getting advice and you're trying to scale your mortgage business or any type of thing that you're doing, that you're getting advice from somebody that's actually been at a higher level than where you're at right now, and that you could actually benefit from them because they've actually done what they're telling you. Okay, so last thing I want to go over with you is this is an interactive class. So if you have any questions, sort it out. Totally cool being interrupted. Put it in the chat, however you want to do it. And then let's get rolling outside of the intro. So what I want to start off with here is how many people in here, when you were growing up as a kid, how many people in here dreamed of being a loan officer? Show of hands. Like all your friends wanted to be athletes. All your friends wanted to play for the Yankees or be like a rock star, and you wanted to be a loan officer. Anybody? Well, Aaron Cursor. I love it. You're the only person in the world I've ever heard say that. So here's what typically happens on most mortgage stories you hear. Somehow you stumbled into a mortgage job and you worked at it for a while and maybe you had some success, and all of a sudden 20 years, 5 years, 10 years later, you're doing the same thing and you kind of just stumbled into it. And my story is, I was working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car after college, and I was like, man, I hate this. I could not imagine doing this for my whole life. So what I did is I went on this thing called monster.com and I looked for jobs, and I applied for mortgage jobs. I get a job at a mortgage company and I got fired in my first week on my first mortgage job. So long story with that, but I did end up finding another mortgage job, and I worked at it for about 3 months, and I wasn't motivated to run a business or make a lot of money. I was just kind of having fun. I was in my early 20s. And all of a sudden, something happened. I went to work every day. I did what they told me. And on my third month, I closed like 10 loans and I ended up making like 12 grand. And like this lightning bolt went across my head. And I was like, I looked at my bank account, and I think after taxes, I had like $7,000 in there. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I was just like, I thought I was like God's gift to earth. Like, I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen, because I never really had a lot of money. And I started thinking, I'm like, I could get used to having some income where I could do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. So that month, I always kind of go back to it because it made me realize that having income really allows me to live a more free life of what I wanted to do. So it really started my motivation on really becoming what I became over the course of my career. So the reason I'm going over this stuff is we stumble into mortgages. And I think if you're going to be a top originator, a lot of times you're told to get on the floor, start selling, or however you got into mortgages. And in order to be a top originator, I think you really have to do one thing. You have to have a vision of why your business exists. And what I find with a lot of originators is they've never peeled back the peel of the onion and really decided why someone would choose them over the hundreds of thousands of other loan officers that offer similar products, similar rates, similar turn times. So think about that. If you're going to work with a customer, do you know why? If you're going to work with a realtor, do you know why they should work with you versus every other loan officer that they could work with? So I'm going to give you a little homework here because I think this is unbelievably beneficial for the future of your business. Is I want you to think about your customers in your business. Maybe it's realtors. Maybe it's like actual clients. You're obviously working with actual clients. Maybe it's builders, divorce attorneys, whoever you work with, whoever your leads are in your business. I want you to put down that person, realtors, and I want you to come up with 3 bullet points of your value proposition. And what those value proposition really is why should they work with you over the millions of other options out there? Okay, so come up with that with each segment that you work with: customers, realtors, builders. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to come up with an elevator pitch. Everybody here know what an elevator pitch is? So just a quick reminder. Let's say I meet a realtor in an elevator. I got 10 seconds to tell them why they should work with me over any other loan officer that they could work with. Do I have that at a moment's notice where I could say that? Kaylee, do we have that? Do we have the same pitch we said 100 times? So I'll just give you an example of mine. We want to be active partners in your origination business. I want to understand how you originate, what your goals are, and I want to do everything possible to help you originate more business, impact more clients, and ultimately close more deals while offering great rates and a great customer service experience. Okay, that's my elevator pitch to realtors. So do you have a value proposition and do you have an elevator pitch? So if you don't, that's your homework I really want you to work on. And I forgot to move this slide, so my bad. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, what does all this have to do with being a top producer? And I personally think this is one of the most important things to being a top producer is if you really think about it, how can you tell a realtor why they should work with you? How can you tell a customer why they should work with you if you haven't figured it out for yourself? You really think about that. Like, I'll go up to a loan officer, and if I asked you, why should a realtor work with you? The vast majority of your competition can't answer that question. Or they're fumbling around something with great rates and close on time and stuff like that. Okay, so really dial that in. And what happens, there's this beautiful thing that happens is once you dial in your value proposition, once you know why you exist, why you're valuable to your customers, you're able to create a brand. And here's what I mean by that. If I have a value proposition to clients and realtor partners, what I'm going to do is all my marketing, any websites, any flyers, anything I do for my marketing is going to go back to my value proposition, why I exist for this particular customer. And it makes you really clear on why you exist. It makes it easier to build a brand. Keep in mind, there's 100,000 other loan officers that do the exact same thing that you do. You have to have a personal brand of why they should work with you. And it's a lot easier to do that if you know why you exist and you have all your marketing, everything you do to market your business goes back to why you exist. Okay, so any questions on that before I move on to the next slide? It's something I think is super important that most loan officers don't do. So if you're doing these things, you're going to put yourself ahead of the vast majority of loan officers that are just fumbling through their career. Okay. Now, a lot of people have been through this exercise, and we're going to get into more specifics here shortly. But anytime a loan officer comes to work with me, if they want me to help their business, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to create a plan of what success looks like. And what that plan really is looking like is understanding where they want to go. And then we're going to reverse engineer what it's going to take to get there. Okay. And I call this mathematically creating the business that you want. And make no mistakes, business is about math. It's about numbers. Sales is about numbers. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick example. Let's say I'm talking to a loan officer. They want to close 10 deals a month. The average income they make at their company is $5,000 per deal. So they want to make $50,000 per month or $600,000 per year. The first thing I'm going to think about is, okay, if I want to close 10 deals a month, how many applications is that going to take? What is my conversion percentage on those applications? So if somebody could blurt out here, what do you think your conversion percentage, if you take 10 applications, how many of those are you converted to funded deals?
3.
3. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So here's what I see. A lot of times when I talk to loan officers, especially producers that really aren't at a high level yet, they'll say something like 70 to 80%. Okay. And that's the wrong number. Okay. The reality is you talk to 10 people, 5 of them probably don't even qualify. So you're taking 50% right off the bat. So in my experience evaluating this for a long time, typically your conversion percentage is somewhere between 15 and 40%, depending on where you're getting your client applications. If they're more online leads, it's going to be on the lower end of that spectrum. If they're more hot referrals, it's usually on the higher end of that spectrum. So I think a safe bet is 20%. I think if you did 20% and calculated your business plan off that, I don't think that would be terrible. But I would urge you to understand what this number is and constantly be looking at it, because that number is really what you want to go back to, so you know what a successful month looks like, what a successful week looks like, what a successful day looks like. Okay, so for this example, let's just say I'm going to convert 20% of my applications. So if I want to close 10 deals, then I'm going to have to get 50 applications per month. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that down into a weekly figure. That's 12 and a half apps per week, 2.5 apps per day. And I'm going to put that all over everything in my workspace. I'm going to put it on my computer. I'm going to put it on my calendar. I'm going to put it everywhere, so I know what a successful week looks like. So if I end Friday afternoon and I leave at 3:00 and I got 12.5 apps, I'm feeling really good about myself. But if I have 5 apps, I know I'm not doing the activities I need to hit the income goal that I wanted to make. So you constantly want to know what success looks like, so you're holding yourself accountable to doing the activities it takes to make the income goal that you want to make. Okay, so make sure you have a mathematical plan, that you have a success plan every single week of what it's going to take to hit where you want to go. If you don't have a plan, you don't know where the hell you're going, you're not probably going to get there. Okay, so make sure you put together a mathematical plan and it's dialed into your goals every single week. Now, one of the things I want to kind of go over this from a leads perspective, because I think a lot of people understand online leads and conversion percentage and things like that, but they don't take this same concept to referral partnerships. So let me kind of explain this to you. How many people in here have purchased leads or have done online leads at some time in their career? Okay, Drew has. Anybody else? I can't see everybody, but if you are purchasing leads or if you are building a lead plan, typically what you're going to do is you're going to look at the math of this. Okay, so I just did an example here. Okay, let's say I'm buying leads for a team. I'm going to buy 100 leads per month. I feel like I can close 3 of those leads, so 3%. I make $5,000 per deal. The leads cost me $3,000. Maybe my CRM and some other expenses cost me a little bit. So $15,000 is what I'm going to make. 3,200 is my expenses, and my profit's going to be $12,800. Most people can understand that math and understand how that works. But what most people don't do, or most loan officers don't do, is a lot of loan officers want to work with referral partners, but they don't look at referral partners like leads. They look at it as something very different. And everything in sales is really just a numbers game. And you really want to take it back to this concept with leads. So let me kind of show you an example. So let's just say you were buying leads and you were buying 100 leads and you were converting at 3%. Realistically, over time, if you stop buying 100 leads and you started buying like 20, realistically, is it realistic you're going to close 3 deals per month? Okay, if you're not buying the same amount of leads and your percentage is 3%, over time, if you don't buy 100 leads, you're not going to close 3 deals per month. Is just a logical answer. Okay, so what happens with people is when they want to work with referral partners, they don't create a plan to get in front of a certain amount of leads or referral partners per month. So if you like, I'll talk to a loan officer and sometimes I'll say, well, how many new realtor partners did you speak with or pitch this month? And they'll be like 3. Now, is it realistic if you were to kind of go back to leads that you're going to grow your business when you're getting in front of just a handful of realtors and you're not where you want to be and you want realtors to be the main source of your business? It's just not realistic. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to create a plan of how you're going to get in front of a certain amount of your leads. Now, your leads might not be realtor partners. Maybe they're divorce attorneys. Maybe they're financial advisors. Maybe they're builders. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to say, okay, I'm going to get in front of this amount of people every single month of my ideal lead. I think I can convert this percentage of them and how that looks over a month or 12 months. Okay, so let's just do an example. Okay, I am not where I want to be in my business today, and I want to work with realtors. So I'm going to create a plan of how every single month I'm going to get in front of 30 new realtors. And by doing that, I feel that I can convert 10% of those realtors to work with me over time. So if my math is correct, every single month, I'm going to build 3 new referral partnerships. And over a 12-month period, I'm going to work with 36 new realtors. If you're working with 36 new realtors over a 12-month period of time, your whole business is going to change. And that's life-changing figures just by putting together this plan and executing it. So the moral of this story is you have to treat referral partners no different than you would a mathematical equation with leads. Okay, if you want to work with more referral partners, then you have to create a plan, or your existing referral partners just need to do more business where that could logically happen. But in all likelihood, you're probably going to need more referral partners if you're not where you're at, where you want to be right now. So what I want you to do is really think about a plan so you can execute it and start working with more referral partners. Now, the next question may be, let's say I want to get in front of 30 realtors. How can I do that on a consistent basis every single month, get in front of 30? Okay, so the easiest way, and like literally it drives me crazy when I talk to Originator that doesn't have a very specific plan on this, is the listing agent or a new buyer agent on a contract. Okay, when we're thinking of realtors specifically, anytime a realtor sends you their first deal, if they've never worked with you in the past, they're literally risking their whole commission on you performing at a high level for their client. Okay, when you are a lender on a list or on a contract and you actually are working with a listing agent, you have a free audition to show them exactly how you do business on every other transaction. So what you want to do is you want to create a plan so everybody's wowed about this experience of doing this transaction with you and has a lot of confidence in you. So if they decide they want to give you a try, they've already worked with you. They've seen you work at a high level. Okay, so let's say I'm putting together a plan of getting in front of 30 new agents every single month. And I do 3 deals per month right now. Right off the bat, I got 3. Because I got 3 listing agents I probably never work with. So now I got 27 to finish out my plan. Everybody following? Questions? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create activities of how I can get in front of those other 27. Okay, maybe I want to do open houses. Okay, so we have a lot of loan officers in here. What they'll do is they'll look up open houses that are coming up on Zillow. They'll contact and they'll put together marketing for the open houses with loan terms based upon the purchase price. They'll contact, let's say, 20 realtors a week. They'll actually put together the marketing for them, send it to them, and go over their services. Okay, let's just say they did 20 a week. They do that 4 weeks. They're getting in front of 80 new partners. Okay, so this is all about a mathematical equation of how you want to do this. So open houses could be a thing that you could do. You could drop by open houses if you want. Okay, if you follow our team at all, we throw a lot of classes. When I throw a class, we're typically going to have 20 to 30 agents on that class. Okay, immediately I'm probably working with 5 or 10 of those. So now I have 20 realtors, new realtors that I can pitch as part of my mathematical plan. Maybe you go to networking events. Every networking event, maybe you meet 3 new realtors. Okay, that's part of your math. Home tours, organization, cold calls, DMing on social media. Whatever it is, create a plan of getting in front of amount of realtors that you need to hit your goals every single month. Okay, now the key is you're going to put together that plan, you're going to execute that plan, and you're going to evaluate the results. So let's say I get in front of 30 realtors on a given month, and on that month, I feel like 1 realtor out of the 30 is probably going to work with me. And I want to work with 3 to hit my goals. So what I have to decide is, am I doing the right activities to get to the realtors that I want to work with? Or do I need to increase my activity where if I want to work with 3, maybe I got to meet with 90 new realtors. So every single month, you want to go into the month with a plan, track how many referral partners or whatever it is that you're trying to meet, track the results, and then evaluate them and see if this is going how you want it to go. Maybe your conversion percentage is higher. Maybe you need to do different activities. Maybe you need to do more activities. You're going to have to evaluate that on a constant basis. So you want to have some sort of system of how you're tracking the new referral partners that you're getting in front of, the ones that you're possibly converting, and coming up with a system and evaluating how well it's working. The biggest problem I see with loan officers and the reason they're not able to scale is really simple. You need to be spending 3 hours every single day on origination activities, which is prospecting or marketing. Okay, you get business by prospecting, which is reaching out to people to work with you, or marketing is putting together marketing so people call you. So that should be a big chunk of your day every single day. And if you do 3 hours of origination activity, focused origination activity every single day, your whole life is going to change within a year. It's just crazy, but you have to, what most loan officers do is they do a ton of busy work and stuff that really doesn't move the needle in their business. Entering applications, getting fixing their desk, getting conditions. The reality is that doesn't make you money. What makes you money is working with new clients. So you constantly have to build into your day origination activities to bring in new clients that make you money. If you're not doing that, your business doesn't automatically just grow off trees. You have to do this consistently, and you have to look at it like it's the most important thing in your day. Like more importantly than doing the application or getting the conditions. You need people to help you do that. You need to focus on bringing in business every single day. And if you do that, I promise you, it'll change your life. Kaylee, we got a thing in the chat I just noticed. Is there anything I need to address there? So look at that.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So here's the situation. When you're meeting with referral partners, the reality is almost every referral partner that you're going to meet is usually working with somebody else, especially if they're good. So most people are not just going to stop what they're doing and say, man, Matt Coates, he's amazing. I've been working with this referral partner for years, and all of a sudden I'm just going to send everything to Matt. Okay, what you have to do is the key is in the follow-up. So what I do is I have an onboarding plan, and I actually use an old school Excel spreadsheet. So when I meet, let's say I meet 30 realtors this month, like I've been talking to you on this plan, I actually have an Excel spreadsheet. What I'm going to do on that Excel spreadsheet is I'm going to put their contact info, first name, last name, email, phone number. Okay, I'm going to look at their production. I'm going to connect with them on all social media channels I use. I use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I actually have a box that says social media. And once I've connected with them on all of them that I can, I check it. Next thing on my onboarding, do I have their birthday? You can find their birthday on LinkedIn or Facebook if they post it. I'm gonna see if I can find it, and then I'm gonna put a system together where I reach out to them on their birthday. Okay, are they on my call list? And we're gonna go over that here in just a second. Are they on my email list? Are they on my social media ad list? Because I create ads that I run to all referral partners or referral prospects. So what I like to do is onboard every single agent and make sure they're in any systems I use for my business, whether that's a CRM, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, however you do whatever works for your brain, put them on that system and make sure you're doing all these activities so you're going to stay in front of them with value over time. Okay, and you're going to want to systemize your follow-up. Like I actually am looking at my office and I have a systematic way that I stay in front of every single person that moves the needle in my business. Okay, so first thing, you have a realtor that's either a partner or prospect. How often are you going to call them? Are you going to call them once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month? Create a system that works for you. I know a popular system is the core and calling people every week. Honestly, I think that's a little bit much. So I'm usually trying to call our referral partners every month. I think that's enough where it's not crazy and annoying, but I'm still staying in front of them and making sure they know I care about working with them. How often am I going to email them? We have an exact system. Every Tuesday, I wake up and I write an email about rates, housing news, and the Cromford report. Put together that email. It's sent to every person that's on our referral partner list every Tuesday. Every Saturday, Kaylee creates an email that goes out to our realtors about classes that we're throwing and marketing that they can use for their business. And every single month, I send an email out basically going over my personal life and what's going on with me. So we have multiple systematic ways we stay in front of people by email. How often am I going to text them? I think the key is when you're texting a referral partner, you don't want to text them stuff that's just spam. So you really want to text them things that are valuable for their business. Maybe a new guideline came out that's really important that they need to know about. Maybe a new product came out that they might want to pitch to their clients. Maybe you have an event coming up that you really want them to go with. But try to stay in front of your agents by proactive text, at least, once a month, once every 2 months. Just make sure it's just not spam. It's something that adds value to their business, so they're going to get annoyed by it. Okay, how often do you post on social media? So if I'm connecting with all of our referral partners on social media, I want them to see me all the time. So I'm going to post on social media every single day. It's going to be a mix of personal and business stuff, but there's very rarely a day that doesn't go by that I don't post on social media. Now, one thing I'd like to say here is there's a lot of loan officers that kill it that never post on social media. So you have to decide what works for your business, but I want to stay top of mind. So I want to post on social media and I don't spend a lot of time on it. Like if I do a video, I do one take and I just put it out. Like I'm not going to spend 5 hours making sure like I look perfect or everything. I just get out and I do it. So that's my method. But staying top of mind by daily social media is part of my business plan. Okay. I also run ads to everybody. So you guys might have seen my ad. So if you're a referral partner that comes into my world, I'll run an ad to you. Facebook and Instagram allowed you to take a list of people and market the ad just to those people. So if I met 30 realtors last month, all of them are going to see ads from me, to work with them. And all my ads go back to my value proposition and why I exist. They're going to see me all the time on Facebook and Instagram, even if I don't post, because I run ads to them. And most of my ads are like $1 a day. So I don't spend a ton of money on it either. Maybe your business plan is throwing events like, quarterly masterminds, quarterly happy hours, whatever it may be. But you could also include events if that's part of your business plan. Maybe you mail them every certain period of time. The real nuts and bolts of this is you want to have a plan. And then you just execute the plan. When you have a plan, you have a roadmap of what to do every single day. So don't make this random. Me and Kaylee talk to realtors. Kaylee, I want you to jump in here real quick. So me and Kaylee talk to realtors. We've been on hundreds of meetings with realtors, and almost all of them we say, how do you get your business? What do almost all of them say first?
Like past clients or referrals, their sphere of influence.
Referral, sphere of influence. Our second question, how do you stay in front of them? Almost every single time, it's very random. Oh, I call them. Like, guys, if you want to be a top producer, one thing you're going to notice by people that do things at a high level is nothing's random in their business. Like, they don't have just like some random way of reaching out to their clients or their past clients or their sphere or people that send them business. It's strategic, and they've actually written down a plan that they can execute. Okay, so don't do random things in your business. Take the time to put together the plan and then hold yourself accountable to executing it. Someone's requesting to record this meeting. We're already recording it, so we'll send you out the recording. So just FYI. Now, one of the things on your phone calls that I like to do is I like to create reasons to call people where I'm not just calling them, hey, do you got a deal for me? Like trying to sell them. What I'm trying to do is build a relationship and add value to their business. So anytime a new product comes out, that's a really good reason to call someone. So on the broker side, Provident just came out with a $10,000 grant on the Home Plus Purchase Ready program, or forget exactly what it's called. Okay, their grant is higher than every other lender I've seen on the market. That's a great opportunity for me to call my agents to say, hey, I wanted to let you know we got this awesome new product. Maybe it's going to be good for some of your clients. Would you like me to create any marketing for it? Here's all the details of the product. It's like an easy way for me to reach out to someone where I'm not really selling them on anything. I'm trying to add value to their clients and their business. Maybe I have a new origination strategy that's really working well for me that I want to talk to them about. Maybe I can help them execute. Maybe I'm throwing a class and I just want to, hey, we threw a cap class yesterday. I see you do a lot of videos in your business. Maybe you might learn a couple things on this class. Maybe you should come. Or if you follow them on Facebook or Instagram, maybe their kid just graduated from college or something happened. You can call them and just say, hey, that's really cool, or talk about things you see happening in their life. Just try to build a relationship where it's not always about them sending you deals. Sometimes I'll call agents and they get weird because they don't have a deal for me. And I'm like, I'm not here to talk to you about deals. I'm here to try to help your business and build a relationship with you. You don't always need a deal for me. And you don't want them to think that. So just have reasons to call people where you're not always selling things, and you can build a relationship over time. So I think this is a really big thing to know when you're trying to work with referral partners is psychologically, most people do not like change. Most people, when you're working at a mortgage company or your referral partner or you're in a romantic relationship, like you don't really want to change. Like once you work with someone, you really want to keep it consistent because it's easier for your life. The reason most people change is two reasons: pain or gain. So you have to know this when you're working with referral partners, okay? Normally, they're not going to switch unless the lender that they're working at today is causing problems in their business where they just don't feel it's correctable. Usually they mess up on some deal, then they have an opportunity where they're going to look at other places. Okay, the other reason they might change is this: if you're just such a better lender at every possible level than the current lender they're working at, it's just not logical for them to stick with their current lender. Okay, so if you know this about human psychology and that most people do not like to change, you either have to have a gain proposition that's just so awesome, that's better than other lenders out there, or you have to stay top of mind. So when that pain happens, you're going to get the first call and first opportunity to be their new lender. Okay, and most people are going to switch on the pain. So that's why I'm so obsessive about databasing and staying top of mind. Because if I stay top of mind and consistent and they're always seeing me, that's when I'm going to get an opportunity that other lenders didn't, because they didn't have that same consistency, that same plan, that same try to add value to their business over time. Okay. When you're consistent, you get really lucky a lot. And by being consistent and being obsessive about being consistent in my business, I get lucky with a lot of partnerships and different things that happen in my business. Okay, so I'm going to bring Kaylee in here. Me and Kaylee, as we were building Team Green, we talked to, we've been on hundreds of realtor meetings, and almost always when we're talking to realtors, you want to realize that there's two big complaints that most realtors have with their current lender. So Kaylee, you probably don't even have to read the slide, but what are the two complaints you always have?
Poor communication between the LO and the agent, and reciprocation. I send my lender all these buyers all the time, and they don't give me anything in return.
Yeah. So as a loan officer, you want to understand what your two main objections are going to be. So, or the two main problems that most realtors have. Okay. So if communication's a problem, what I would do is, if you think about the loan from start, you get an application to closing and post-closing. Every single loan's exactly the same unless a problem comes up. You get the application, you send the pre-qual, they go under contract, you lock the loan, you order the appraisal, you submit it to underwrite. Like, the process is always the same. So what you want to do is you want to systemize every part of the process. So unless you mess up, every person should have an amazing experience. Your client should have an amazing experience. Your realtor partner should have an amazing experience. Your transaction coordinator should have an amazing experience. Your title company. Okay, so if you don't have a systematic way, you do every single deal with multiple touch points where you're constantly telling people what's going on. One thing I would work on right after you get on this call. Okay, every single deal I do that is the exact same, and as long as no problems happen, everybody's going to have an awesome experience and going to be raving about working with me. Okay, so that's part of the communication, is just creating systems to proactively communicate. So proactive communication is telling people what they want to hear before they have to ask. If your realtor constantly has to ask you what's going on, they're probably not going to work with you very long. Create systems so you're telling them what's going on without them having to ask you. Also, on another note with that, if a problem happens, don't hide it. Address it immediately. If you messed up, own it. And we've all worked with people where they constantly put they made a mistake and they put it on the title company or some other stuff. We're all humans. If you made a mistake, say you made a mistake and do everything you can to fix it, and don't hide the problem. Okay, so communication, you should know that that's a big complaint. So I would make sure your business is structured so you have great proactive communication. Now let's get some comments here if people aren't shy. With reciprocation, okay, most lenders, unless they're purchasing purchase leads, don't have a ton of deals to give back to their referral partners. Okay. Or maybe you do with working with financial advisors and you have other referral systems. But if you cannot reciprocate at a high level to realtors, especially because you want to work with 20 to 40 or whatever it may be, what's another way that you could help their business without actually giving them clients? Anybody have anything that works in their business? Drew.
Following up on their closings that you've done with them and then asking for referrals that way.
Yeah. So if you have post-closing, you can work with your past clients and make sure you're staying in front of them at a higher level than they are. And possibly they have a friend or family member that wants to purchase. Where that deal came from, so you can get it back to them. Any other things you guys could think of to help people's business without giving them direct clients?
Work with poor credit quality borrowers to get them in line.
Yeah, maybe they send you someone where it doesn't work and you spend the time to put together a plan. We always talk about this. If it's not now, then when? Okay, if you can't purchase today, what are we going to do to get you in a position to purchase 6 months, a year down the road, whatever it may be? The other thing that I would do is really dive deep on how they get business. Realtors only get business in like 7 ways, right? It's like, I might forget one here. It's sphere of influence, leads, farming, social media, advertising. I might be missing one here, business relationships. But like, if you know that the vast majority of realtors get business in like 5 to 7 different pillars, what I would do is think of all these pillars that they're getting business, and how can you add value so you can actually be beneficial for them, helping them get more business from those things. So Easy one. They buy leads. Could you help call the leads? Could you help market the leads? Could you put them on a drip campaign? Could you put them on emailers? If they do open houses, could you help call the neighborhood and invite the neighborhood? Could you help with the door knocking? Could you do social media to market it? Just think of ways that you can actually show value and help them bring in business based upon the pillar that they're choosing to originate clients. Okay, when you become a valuable person in their business, it's a lot harder for them to work with other people because you're essential in actually helping them bring in clients. So I would always work on how can I go above and beyond what most loan officers are doing. Most loan officers just want you to send them a hot deal and a good referral and then do it from start to finish. Okay, if you're going to stand out, you might have to do a little bit more than that. Because I'll be honest with you, if I'm a realtor and I'm busting my ass out here getting you deals and all you got to do is close the deal that I gave you a warm referral on, like I'm kind of going to look for someone that's going to do a little bit more for me than that, just personally. So I would think about that as a lender and realize that you might have to go above and beyond if you really want to be a top producer. So I do want to get some comments on this because I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't feel like we've done a really good job adjusting with this market with our core loan officers. So I feel like the market started changing around April, March 2022. And we've been all in on realtors for 5 to 7 years. That's where we're going after. And one of the things that I was talking to Matt about this the other day, the same realtor that would get us 10 deals last year or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, now they might get us 2, 4, 5. And I don't feel like we've adjusted to this market to focus on other avenues of business because the reality is most realtors are doing a lot less transactions. And if that's your main focus, you got to work with a ton more, which is doable. But you have to realize that that's happening. So has anybody else, and if you don't want to share, it's totally cool, but has anybody else really seen this same thing happen in your business? And have you made adjustments to go after different things that could get you business, like different types of referral partnership outside of agents? Anybody? Well, one thing I would, all right, sorry, go ahead.
This hasn't developed yet. I had a lunch meeting with an estate planning attorney at a networking event that there may be some potential there. Probate, where people are looking to pull cash out from the property, for example, not on the purchase side, but just another relationship of a referral source instead of an end referral, somebody that can feed you over a long period of time. So I'm going to nurture that relationship to keep in touch with that individual. We had a phone call yesterday, just kind of asking about his personal life. He hosted a chamber event recently. So just kind of building rapport over that, finding out his personal interests at the luncheon. I think it went really well.
Nice, nice. So if you find another source, what I would do is go back to the referral partner plan that we talked about at the beginning. One of the things I'm thinking that we're going to probably do is we're probably going to go after bank and credit union loan officers because we all know that they have very vanilla products, and if you fit outside of their box, they probably can't do that loan. So if I can provide value to somehow get that client closed on a situation that they can't do, that's something I think I'm going to look into, and I'm going to approach it just like I would a referral partner. Okay, I'm going to get in front of 10 to 15 bank loan officers every single month, go over my value proposition, how I can help them and what's in it for them. And then I'm going to stay in front of them with value over time so I can get opportunities when they pop up. Okay. And I'm going to mathematically create a plan and I'm going to execute the plan and I'm going to evaluate it. So if you are kind of pivoting and looking at different things, just create a similar type of plan, because if you do it randomly, it usually doesn't work. Okay. You really want to create a system, a numbers, and a math behind what you're doing. But one of the things that I think is huge is whenever you're working with a referral partner, you always want to start off, even before you go after them, is what's in it for them? Why is what I'm providing going to add value to your business? Sonia, what's going on?
Yeah, that was my question. Just what you said. So you're calling like credit union or something like that, and getting their 1, 2, 3 offs and things like that. But what is it in for them? Because most of we're brokers, so we try to do all the loans. I mean, all the loans. We tend to have a lot of product access. So what's in it for them?
So what I would say is I'm going to do this deal for your client, but I'm not going to market them after the closing. And I'm going to give you their, contact information. So if they need a more traditional loan down the line, like maybe they need a hard money loan, but in 6 to 7 months, they're going to want to refinance it to a conventional loan. Hey, let me do the hard money loan and I'll let you know when they're ready and you can take that one back. I just want to help you on this particular deal that you can't do. A lot of times when they're working with banks and credit unions, the main thing is keeping the money in the bank or the credit union. That adds value to the bank and the credit union. So if you can help their clients, not work with a different bank that might take that money, that's a value proposition as well. But what I would focus on is getting their clients back to them when it's their type of deal, but I would love to help when it's not. And then actually executing on that. You might get a call from someone that wants to do a deal that you could do, but if you pitch someone that you're going to get them back their client, follow through and be, have your integrity there and get it back to them. And you do that one time, like that'll be talked about within their offices and things like that. That's just one thing kind of riffing off the top of my head, but definitely try to have a value proposition, or like they're going to come up with objections. You're going to want to think of what their objections likely could be and have answers to their objections. So you always want to think about that before you go into it. Any
Absolutely.
other things? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other things people want to discuss? Maybe different avenues that they're looking at? All right, cool. Here's one thing. Anybody that knows me, Kersher, I know you've worked with me. Like I'm obsessive about this. Okay. And the thing about it is sometimes you'll talk to a client that's been in this business 5-10 years and they don't have all their clients in a database and they're not marketing their clients in any systematic way. And it literally drives me crazy, not because I'm mad at them personally, but they're leaving so much money on the table because they're not doing very simple things to stay in front of their clients with value. So I want to give you some just tips on things that have worked for me in the past, staying in front of clients. So not only when they need your services again, they're going to come back to you, but also when they're at the dinner table and someone's talking about buying a house or refinancing, man, you should call my loan officer. They're amazing. Okay. If you're going to get referrals like that, you have to stay top of mind consistently. You got to think about the world we live in. There's so much noise. You're getting marketed to constantly. You have to be obsessive. They have to see you all the time if you're going to get those referrals. Okay. So here's my suggestion. Everybody in the world's trying to get away from talking to people. AI, drips, all this stuff. Okay. The reality is usually when you're closing a transaction, you're actually having a physical conversation with someone. So I would call your clients every 6 months, see how they're doing, see how their family is, see how the house is, make sure they're doing well, see if they have any questions about what's going on with the real estate market, interest rates, insurance premiums are going up. Stay in front of them with a physical phone call on a periodic basis. I think a lot of people get away from that, and I think it's actually the most important thing you could do. Okay, second thing, are you connecting with all your clients on social media? At the end of the month, you closed 3 deals. Have you went to social media on all the ones that you use and connect with all 3 of them? Okay, regular email newsletters. So what I do is I send a newsletter every 2 weeks about what's going on with rates, the market, housing, crop report. Every month I do a monthly newsletter more about me and personally what I'm doing so I can connect with them more on an emotional level outside of just mortgages. And just so you guys know, I'm going to send you a lot of stuff that we do after this so you have it and steal whatever you want. Text once a quarter, maybe rates are going down, maybe a holiday, maybe whatever it is, you like try to stay in front of them by text, because the reality is even when you call them, a lot of times they're not going to answer and people don't listen to voicemails, but texts get open way more than emails do. So I would have a texting, some sort of way to text them. And one of the things I'm big about is I don't like canned stuff. Like I personally, like, let's say I'm going to text my past clients this month. I'm going to try to think of something I think is valuable and I'm going to write it myself. Like I'm so over like canned emails and canned stuff. Like I really want something that's actually trying to add value or reaching out to them in a meaningful way. I also social media target all my past clients. So they're going to see me on Facebook, Instagram all the time. Okay. I love this thing because one of the things I love about it is the ad can be very specific to this specific person. if you're a past client, I could pitch to you that I do deals, like I have a loyalty discount program for all my past clients, or I could even mention that you're a client of mine. And the only way I can do that is if I'm running ads to just my past clients. So a lot of loan officers don't do this, and I think it's a no-brainer just to stay in front of people on a consistent basis when you're sleeping, because it's constantly going to show up in their feed when you throw ads to them. Reach out on their birthday. You could create a Facebook group of just your past clients, and maybe throw events or raffles in there. Maybe HomeBot, maybe you do client events, things like that. But whatever you do, have a very systematic way so you're constantly staying in front of them and they know who you are all the time. A lot of people think that people are going to remember you just because you did the loan. The reality is they work for you 3 weeks and maybe they didn't even meet you in person. So you got to do these things to stay in front of them with value over time.
Are you using like a mass text service to send same text to all your clients, but it is personalized? Are you doing them individually?
I use Big Purple Dot as my CRM, and the only reason I used it is because I like the texting service of it. So I'm not individually texting them something personally about them, but I am going over something maybe about the market or maybe about rates or something I see happening that I think would be valuable to all of them. And I'm personally writing that. So am I saying, hey, Kelly, I like something very personal about them, not on a mass text. It's more something I think might be valuable for them to know. I think a really good thing right now, especially if you have a good insurance partner, insurance premiums are going up a ton. Hey, just wanted to let you know, based on, I mean, there's tons of articles on this. You could pull them up. Insurance premiums are going up right now. I just wanted to see if your insurance premium went up, maybe you might want to get a quote. That's going to add value and save them money if you can save them on their insurance. One of the things I think people don't do enough is use their database or use your connections to add value to your past clients. Like if you have great financial advisors, I mean, let's be realistic. A lot of financial advisors are just salesmen. They're not really good financial advisors. If you have really good connections on like estate attorneys or insurance companies that can offer really good deals, or different people in your professional network that are really top-notch professionals, they get a lot of value just by you having those connections. So I would definitely utilize that as a value proposition to your past clients. Knowing you gets you access to my whole network. If you're in real estate mortgages 10, 20 years, you probably have met some really high-level professionals that can actually add value to these people's lives. All right, so a couple other things here. One of the things, this is near me all the time. I'm like old school, so I have like a weekly planner. So if you're ever next to me, like I literally have this with me every day next to me when I'm working. So I use the Darren Hardy method when I'm planning my weeks and my months and my quarters. So what Darren Hardy teaches, he's a productivity coach. So before my week starts, what I've done is I've thought in my brain, what's the 3 most important things that if I execute this week are going to make it a successful week in my business? Now, a lot of times people think this stuff is stupid and like hippie-ish and stuff like this. If you're really intentional about your business, you get better results. So every single week before I go into my week, I'm thinking, what's the thing that's going to make my business be most successful this week? I'm going to write down probably 3 to 5 things, and I'm going to time block all those on Sunday before my week even starts. And that's non-negotiable. Like nothing's coming into that time, because I've already identified that as a needle mover in my business that I cannot miss. Okay. And what I try to do is I always try to schedule these early in the day, because we all know what happens. You're a loan officer, some deal catches on fire and you got to address it. If you're putting your stuff in your afternoon, a lot of times things will happen and you can't get to it. So really try to do your most important activities in the morning if possible. So every single week, both personally and professionally, I put down 3 to 5 things that are most important in my week. Maybe personally, it's going to be go to the gym 3 times, or every single day have 30 minutes of quality time with my kids where I'm just spending time directly with them. Whatever it may be, try to build that out and intentionally do that every single week. What you're doing is you're building up successful weeks, and consistency over time really has some great results. Every quarter, I do this thing called quarterly rocks. And a quarterly rock is something that's not an immediate thing, but it's something that you can add value to your business over time. So, for example, like, let's just say you don't have a monthly newsletter and you want to create a monthly newsletter. Q2 2024, by the end of this quarter, I'm going to have a monthly newsletter that after this quarter, I'm going to execute every single month. Maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe, you know, you want to do a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to have campaign drips for your pre-qualifications that are still looking. Whatever it could be, kind of think about a long-term project that you can do that's going to add value to your business. Now, think if you do 2 quarterly rocks every quarter, over a year, you're going to have 8 new layers of things that have added value to your business. Like people that really expand and start closing 100, 200, 300 million, like they have a lot of stuff going on in their business, and none of that stuff happens overnight. It's usually them having a project, completing it, and then layering on more and more projects. So I really love quarterly rocks as well on your planning. So anybody in here read Compound Effect by Darren Hardy? So I really believe in this, and almost everything in your life has compound effects where you don't notice it today, but if you look back in a year, 2 years, you're going to see the benefits of this. And this is really easy. I always like to compare this to like eating right or the gym, because it's super easy for us to think about. You go to the gym 1 or 2 times in a month, you're not going to see results. You go to the gym 3 times a week for a year, you're going to see results. You eat better consistently over a period of time, you're going to see results. If you do it 1 or 2 days a week, you might not. So all this consistent activity that you're doing, it might seem like you're not getting results immediately, but if you commit to it over time and you're constantly evaluating what you're doing and if it's bringing value to your business, like over time, you really start seeing crazy results, like life-changing results. So keep in mind, put together the system, consistently execute it. And then I always look at business like a garden. And that sounds, I always say this, it sounds kind of like hippie, like stuff like that. But the reality is the more business you do, the more business opportunities arise. So when I'm closing clients, they're probably going to do 4 to 6 more transactions in their lifetime. How am I going to get those transactions? When I work with a referral partner that loves me, they're going to tell their other people in their office, man, this guy's legit, like he's awesome. So the more business you do at a high level, the more opportunities, the more lucky you get. So just keep working your plan, and over time, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. I call it getting lucky, but it's all stuff that you personally put together to make you lucky. Okay. Last thing I'm going to discuss, and we can open up for questions, comments, or any ideas that you have that are working with this. I always like to hear from top originators or people that are doing great in their business. But one of the things I get asked a lot about is leveraging and building a team. So kind of my story when I built a large purchase team is I remember very specifically when I decided to do it. I was in Hawaii, and I was there with my 2 kids and my wife at the time. And like the whole vacation, I had to do like loan officer stuff. Every single night we were at the beach, I had to stop, I had to do all this stuff, all these problem files. And I just got to a point, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't like interrupt my quality time every single second that someone calls me and needs something. So I decided I wanted to leverage my time with a team. So what I did is I basically got a team member, and I basically put off all the stuff that didn't move the needle in my business. And then this is the most important part if you want to build a team, is you're going to build extra time. So you're going to teach this person exactly how you want things done. So what I did is I hired a loan officer, and I said, this is how I want you to do loans from start to finish. This is my system. We're not doing your system. This is my system right here. Okay. And I want you to execute that at a high level. And then all this extra time I have, I'm going to spend it all on prospecting and marketing. And then that's really how I built it out, is I leveraged the time, and then I used that extra time not to sit around or go golfing. I used it to create more business. So if you build a teammate, what you want to do is create stuff off your plate that's maybe not moving the needle in your business, and take that extra time that you have and use that time to usually focus on marketing or prospecting. So that's exactly what I did. Now, sometimes I'll talk to loan officers that some loan officers are just never going to get comfortable pitching their business or being that outside salesperson where you're constantly talking about your business. Some people just can't get over the mental block that they're running a business and it's their job to pitch the business because they believe in the value that they're offering. And if you're a person that just cannot mentally get over it, I disagree with this, but what you could do is you could be the person that actually is working on the loans, and you could outsource the person that's out there going to get the business. But if you do that, I would highly suggest like you have a very specific plan of who they're going after, like the mathematical plan that we kind of talked about. And make sure you're checking on that status and they're doing exactly what you need to move the needle on your business. So that's all I got, guys. Any questions? I know this stuff wasn't super specific. I'm going to send you guys some more specific stuff on exactly what we do. And happy to share that, and hopefully it adds value to your business. But any questions or comments on things that are working great for your business that maybe we need to know about? Because I'm a big proponent of sharing ideas and attitude of abundance, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Sure, I've got one and two questions outside of your query. I'm recommending to my agents to throw some kind of an ice cream social before it gets too hot. Find a mom and pop shop, partner with them, see if the lender, we could help offset the cost, sponsorship, help market the event, stay in touch with their clients. They seem to be receptive to that, and nothing is actually developed yet, but this is kind of in their early stages. And I think it would be really terrific if the agents would get on board with that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You're helping their business, you're helping burden the financial costs, and it puts you in front of, all of their clients and things like that. So I don't think it's a bad idea. One of the things I do, and this is kind of weird to talk about it in this setting, but anytime I'm financially getting involved with agents, mostly on lead origination, like a lot of loan officers have this thing that you can't help a realtor originate leads because it's a RESPA violation. I don't look at it like that, and I don't think that's how it reads. A RESPA violation is when you're paying someone to send you business. If we're working leads together and I have access to those same leads that you do, we're partners and we're trying to get business together. So that's how I look at it. But a lot of times when I'm working with agents, one of the things, especially in Phoenix, if you guys are in Phoenix and a lot of the bigger markets, a lot of the big teams, you're not walking into a huge team and they're just working with you because you're good. Usually they want something from you. It's just the reality of this marketplace. So, what I always do, if I get into a lead relationship where we're purchasing and working leads together, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but I always tell them financially what works for me. And the reason I do that is if I'm working, paying $2,000 a month for leads and I'm closing one deal a month, that might not work for my numbers. And if you know what works for my numbers up front, it's not weird when I call you and say, hey, I'm spending too much on leads for this amount of closings. And if you make that very clear up front, it's easier to have harder conversations down the road.
How long will you give it before you cut that off?
Just depends. I've worked with big teams. I'm not going to mention names, but when I was first coming up, I just wanted to grow and I just wanted to get big, and I was doing everything possible and sometimes making bad business decisions. But I had this one group I was working with and I was spending, I think it was like $3,000 a month. And I think I was $9,000 in without a closing. We were doing decent at the beginning, but we were hitting a lull. And I called them at the end of the second month and I said, look, this isn't really working out with me. I need you to get with your team. We need to work on, solving this issue. A month went by, another $3,000 in the hole with no pre-quals for the next month. And sometimes you just got to make the cut, but one thing I would realize is profits are better than no profits. Maybe you're only making $2,000 on a deal, but you have a past client that's probably going to give you 4 or 5 deals if you do it correctly. So my main time is when I cut it off is when I'm losing money, and especially if it's a significant amount. Sometimes you got to make a decision that this is just not working for your business. Now, most agents understand that, but I've had tough conversations with agents and they literally, threw me under the bus or came back really with a lot of vitriol. And those aren't people I want to partner with anyways. At the end of the day, we're all running a business and you can't lose money and be a leader of your business. You just can't do that. So I don't know if that answered your question, but if you're making profits and you're not spending a ton of time on it, I would continue it, because the value of that past client over the period of your mortgage loan officer career is going to balance it out. But where you're really losing money, I think you have to make a change. Anybody else? Any ideas? Things are working for you guys?
Just a couple questions, but I'll let someone else chime in if they've got advice.
Matt, go ahead.
One of the slides said a strategy is sending DMs on Facebook. Who are you DMing and what do those DMs look like?
So I just have a birthday message that goes out to everybody on
Oh, the
Facebook.
birthday.
So sometimes they'll respond to it and then we'll just get into a conversation. I've gotten multiple referral partnerships through that.
Yeah,
So
you sent
Matt,
that to me. You're playing your guitar or something, right?
yeah, yep. So
Memorable.
what I
Okay.
do is I create a birthday message that I can send to everybody every single morning. I actually have someone do this for me, but I used to do it all myself. I would go through whoever's birthday it was. I would send them the birthday message. Sometimes they respond, we get into a conversation, and business happens from conversations. Or I might DM someone if like something's happening and like maybe they have like an open house. Hey, maybe I can help you with the open house, or something's happening in their business I think I can add value to, something like that. You know, I think Facebook and Instagram, the main purpose of it for me is listening versus, you know, if you can really look at what people are doing, you can really DM them and start conversations based upon what they're putting out there to the world.
Nice. And my last question, I apologize for monopolizing. When
you're
we
good.
met a year ago, you were using the Reach text app to do texting, and you mentioned that you're doing Big Purple Dot right now. Did you lose your optimism for that, or any particular reason why you shifted over?
Yeah. So the reason I shifted over is because we do this mathematical plan. So we get in front of probably 40 or 50 realtors every single month that we're adding to our database. So if you're doing the reach text and you're adding, let's say 50 a month, over the course of the year, you have 600 that you're adding. And the reach, you actually have to personally push the send button every time you text if you have a picture on it. So to me, like it was taking me days to get through my whole database to text them, and it just wasn't efficient anymore. So that's the reason I just went to my CRM. I didn't want to go to my CRM because it doesn't come from my personal phone number. But a lot of times people, if once you consistently execute it over time, they think it's your personal number. And how my CRM works is if they call me on the number, it comes through to my cell phone anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, anything before I let you go? Just FYI, I'll shoot you a lot of things that we execute. Feel free to steal whatever you want. Really hope this added some value to your business. I know a lot of it's just like strategies and consistencies, but to me, that's really what sets apart the top originators. It's not the shiny objects. It's consistently putting together a plan and executing it, regardless of what's happening in your personal life. And that's really what's gonna bring your business to the highest level. Every person I've ever spoken to has done 100, 200, 300 million. This is what they focus on. So hope it adds some value. I'll get some stuff out to you. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime, and hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. All right, see you later.
Thank you.
Yep.